Okay. That's great. So today she will share her efforts in the field of Anthropocene Studies and her collaboration with the Center for Anthropocene Studies, highlighting the growing importance of cross-disciplinary collaboration and initiatives. Please welcome Dr. Kang.
Hello, my name is Yiyun Kang, and thanks for the warm introductions. And first of all, I'm really honored to be here today to give my presentation. And afterwards, we're going to give you a very special exhibition. So I'm not a scientist, I'm not a climate expert, I'm not a historian, I am an artist as introduced. But I'm very much interested in the non-binary thinking, non-dualistic ontologies, and non-anthropocentric thinking. So these are some of the images of my previous work. I use a lot of technologies. I normally make large-scale installations in the public domain, in art domains, and most of them are using a lot of technology, software and hardware. So as you can see here, most of my work involves some images from the nature or the vanishing species. And then sometimes its title is only in the dark, meaning that we are entering a new dark age. And then sometimes I got a lot of inspirations from papers, nature. I'm particularly interested in the term anthropos. Over the COVID-19, the group of scientists termed the 2020 and 2021 as anthropos, because as humanity is pausing, they can examine the crystal clear oceans and super clear sky. So these are the notions and concepts and terms that I found inspirations from. And then also, I'm very much interested in the relationship between human and earth and fire. So for example, this is one of my favorite quotes about the fire. And then I started a new project, which is about the fresh water. So this is a project that I'm going to explain a little bit in detail. And just so you know, my presentation is 15 minutes. So I'm not going to explain much in detail. So the passage of water is a project about water. And then to make this project, I have collaborated with many institutions and organizations in the world. For example, Google Art and Culture, NASA, and IPCC and COP28. And then probably some of you may wonder, like, why artists need to collaborate with these institutions and organizations. So then to explain about it, I need to explain about the Google's Art and Culture's program, which is called the Culture Meets Climate. It brings the artists, scientists, and museums together to reimagine the climate data. So I spent more than a year on this project, and at the very beginning, a long time of discussions and debates, my role was defined as follows: to create artwork addressing the global issue of Earth freshwater and use NASA satellites data sets. And the resulting artwork will be presented in the form of web art on Google's online platform so that it can be accessible to anybody who has internet access. So that was the point of my role. And then I started my research. But I am not an expert. I guess most of you are familiar with all of these graphs and data and analysis, which is already, it's up there. If you're interested in the Anthropocene issue, there are numbers of papers, reports every year. But the problem is that the volume of the informations and the specificities of that data set, it's not easy to understand to non-experts. So I defined my role in this project is to make an immersive, easy to understand, but at the same time based on the rigorous research and data sets so that it can reach out to anybody in the world, no matter what the race and gender and what else, age. So, because it's basically a partnership with Google and NASA together. So I found the web as a space is very interesting because it's free. You don't have to have a physical space. You don't have to have a museum or the gallery. If you have internet access, you can reach out to anybody. So the the next step for me as an artist, I have to examine what kind of data set from the NASA satellites. Well, to be honest, I thought when you think of NASA, the first thing come to your brain is like universe. But I realized after this project that almost half of their research is about the Earth, because we need to understand about the Earth so that we can think about the terraforming. And because of the climate change, the NASA's Earth research is becoming more and more important. So what I did first is examining all the different 26 Earth orbiting satellites from the Earth, from NASA. And then I concluded these two types of satellites, which is GRACE and SWOT. So it's not just about my research. I had extensive meetings with the NASA scientists for more than a year. So this is not just my thoughts. I have questions to them. They get back to me. We have to understand each other's languages. And finally, I decided to go with two satellites because GRACE is more than 20 years old. And the SWOT is less than 2 years old. So GRACE examining the Earth, a gravity change, so that examines the large volume of water, for example, the ocean. But the SWOT, it's using the utmost high technology. It examines the very fine rivers and small lakes on the Earth, which is all about the fresh water. So my assumption is that if I use two different data sets from the NASA satellite, I can examine the past and present and future of the Earth freshwater. So that was my hypothesis. And what happened next is the data. So this is the shape of the GRACE data. It's just a little bit of the whole terabytes text files. And then this is the SWOT data. It's a SWOT raw data. I had a privilege because it's a project with Google and NASA together. So when I was working on this project, SWOT is less than a year old. But NASA decided to give me the very initial data set from that particular satellite for the first time ever before it released to the public. So for me, but as an artist, the thing is that how can I translate it? Because data doesn't speak for itself. I have to give it a shape, I have to give it a form so that I can communicate with these with much wider audience. So again, due to time limits, I'm just going to show you just one type of data visualization that we did with our technical team and developer team. So this is a GRACE data. So blue means freshwater gain, red means freshwater loss. Just take a look. It's fully navigational. You can zoom in and out, rotate 360 degrees. And there's a time bar on the bottom. So let's see. Let's go to the 2002 and see how it's different from the 2022. So this is what humanity has done to the freshwater. We are losing it enormously. So what artist team has done is to give a communicable form to the massive amount of data sets. And then, as noted earlier, we have to launch it online project, obviously, on the Google's platform. But over the process of developing it, we found that, yeah, I think we're making an interesting project. Why don't we do something offline? So we spent a month of discussions again and again, and finally we secured a venue at COP28 Dubai last year. So it was a massive opportunity, but at the same time, as an artist, it's a completely different context. It's completely non-arts venue, and no one is expecting to see an artwork there. So I have to reimagine. There's an app version, there's a desktop version, but at the same time, the physical version should be different from the online version. So due to time constraint, rather than giving a lengthy explanation, I will show you a 4 minutes video that concisely explains this project. Welcome to the Passage of Water. I am Yiyun Kang, an artist behind this project. This is a special collaboration between Google Arts and Culture and NASA. We spent a year together to make a special story about the freshwater of Earth.
Claire Brooks. I work at Google Arts and Culture, where I manage the program of sustainability. We work with artists and scientists to bring climate data to life through stunning visuals and also storytelling. This project came about because there is a lack of awareness around water in general and like our availability of fresh water. NASA data, which is such a privilege to be working with a partner such as NASA who have a breadth of data, and they have data that not everyone's looking at because, well, sometimes you kind of need to be an expert to understand that data. And through our partnership with NASA, we were able to tell a story with water.
So NASA is looking for water on other planets. Very hard to find. We think it might be on a moon around Jupiter, Europa. We're sending a mission there. It's going to take a long time to get there. Here at home, we have lots of water resources. This is the planet that NASA studies the most. And we want that information to be useful. We want it to be actionable. And this is the promise of SWOT. SWOT is giving us data that is very high resolution, enough for water managers to help them make decisions at the ground level in communities that need it. This data is available to the public for the whole world. SWOT will cover the entire planet every 21 days and provide critical data for water managers, decision makers, climate scientists.
Why? Because by enlisting an artist to do this, such as Yiyun Kang, to basically understand from an academic level why we need to do this, how this works, but also from a data level and technology level. How can we use technology to tell that story too? So by using various methods, using various processes, that story comes to life within Passage of Water. So Passage of Water is an output that is incredibly powerful because of that, because it's so layered. But it's layered, but it feels so simple to understand. So with the help of the UNFCCC, we've been hosted within the blue zone of COP28, which is so uncommon because there are no other really other artworks like this here. So it means a lot on every level for us on this project. So what we would like to aim with this is to reach as many people as possible with it.
We have a mandate from the US Congress to make this data as available and engageable as possible, and that's what we're trying to do with this project, is really show the public a compelling story that's told by talented creatives, informed by science, that can help move the needle on climate action.
I believe arts can serve as an exceptional vehicle for fostering a deeper understanding of the pressing issues. I also believe the role of art is particularly crucial in addressing highly complex issues like the climate crisis, which demands collective efforts from everyone. That is the reason why we have spent a year together to make this special collaboration, and I hope you to enjoy this one. So to make this project, we had to work 24/7 because Google headquarters in London, I was in here, and then we need to communicate with the Pasadena JPL in Washington and Dubai and Paris. So it's a genuinely cross-disciplinary and multidisciplinary approach through the lens of arts. And I believe this kind of approach is becoming more and more important because the climate change is such a complex phenomenon. So science, history, policy cannot solve the problem alone. So that is when I start to talk about the project, the Anthropocene project, which is a collaboration with my lab in KAIST and the Center for Anthropocene Studies. So I believe we started to discuss about this project almost a year ago, and then particularly While the proposal to officially recognize the Anthropocene as a new geological epoch was rejected, we expect the concept will continue to play an important role in the future in various academic disciplines, artistic explorations, and policy developments. And this exhibition aligns with that perspective. So projecting Anthropocene, when Professor Pomson Park suggested the title for the first time to me, I found it's a perfect fit for the project itself, because the projecting itself has lots of physical meaning and conceptual meanings. Projecting involves the act of extending and casting and transmitting something. It could be a light, it could be a sound, images, ideas, or emotions from one place to another, making it perceptible or impactful in a different context or location. So we're literally and physically projecting while conceptually engaging with you and resonating with your emotions so that we could envision our future together. And one other important thing to note is that for this special exhibition, my lab created an immersive audiovisual work that maps on the entire facade of the KAIST headquarters building. It's not just the building, but KAIST, which is Science and Engineering University, its headquarters. We took the venue very seriously, not only because of its scale, which is massive, but also because of its contextual meaning. So taking the venue for this art project could possibly mean that this institution's deepening commitments to interdisciplinary innovation, underscoring the importance of such an approach in addressing complex challenges like the Anthropocene. So although it's located within the university, it's rather a public space. So it's not just about an exhibition for the people who are interested in Anthropocene, but you can reach out to anybody who shares the space. You can reach out to other professors, other academics, other researchers, and other students. So we dedicated over half a year to this project, and particularly in the past few days, we've been working through the nights to complete the installation on site. And we are very, very excited to share the results with you. So to introduce very briefly, the show consists of two artworks, which is Jenga, Biosphere, and Unité d'Habitation, Technosphere. So each of the work is 4 minutes and 6 minutes, so totally it's 10 minutes in one loop, and it will be played until 10 p.m. tonight. So each piece depicts a various aspect of Anthropocene and very differently. Spanning the entire facade of the building, the images vividly illustrate, at times intensely, at times poignantly, how humanity is disrupting the planet's ecosystems. Also, I would like to recommend to hear the soundscape carefully because it even intensifies the storytelling, hoping to deeply resonate with the audience. So these are the group of artists and designers who created the artwork sitting behind, and they will be in front of the building to welcome you. So if you have any questions or if you're gonna want to share any thoughts, we're happy to hear your stories.